We're clicking in accurate attacks, so we're just going to make the most of it. Maybe this team could use a Gravity Sableye, although again, that's a little bit silly. We do miss the Magma Storm. Welcome back to VGC Legends. This is, of course, the series where I spin a wheel. I get a random legendary Pokemon that exists in Scarlet and Violet. I build a team quickly around that legendary. If it has multiple forms, I choose only one form to build around. And I try that team out on the Regulation I ladder. I do this for two reasons. One is just that I like legendary Pokemon, so I enjoy trying out a whole bunch of them. And the other is that by speed building a bunch of different teams and giving them a go on the ladder, I can have some fun along the way, try out some good teams and some bad teams, get into some weird gameplay situations, and maybe learn some things as I go. Looking over the wheel with exactly 40 legendaries left on it, there's a real uneven split of generations represented here. Gens 1 and 7 are already almost wiped out from the wheel. Of course, Gen 6 was never on it in the first place because there are no Gen 6 legendaries in Scarlet and Violet. And a lot of what's left is Gens 8 and 9. We've had Gen 5 twice in a row now, but I think 8 or 9 is very likely this time. That said, one other thing to keep an eye on. 22 episodes in, still not a single legendary picked from Generation 2. So we'll see whether that streak breaks. We'll see whether we work on some of the gens that are overrepresented here. We'll see whether we get close to the end for one of the other generations. Only one way to find out. Let's go. And the wheel is picking Gen 4. Is it Dialga? It is not Dialga. It is Heatran. That trio is almost finished. Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, but not just yet. Dialga will stick around a while longer. And I don't know what I'm going to do with Heatran. That does not seem like an easy one to use right now, but we'll take a look at it. Okay, so this is Heatran. It's always been kind of an interesting mixed bag of a Pokemon. We got some solid stats here, decent bulk, decent special attack. The speed used to be... It was never great, but early on when this Pokemon was created, it was an interesting speed stat for sure. The fire and steel typing is itself a mixed bag, a lot of resistances, but also some very exploitable weaknesses, especially ground. Heatran definitely is very solid in some competitive formats. It was on my best teams in Regulation E this generation. I used it as a bulky attacker with leftovers, and I also had Rillaboom on the team, so it would be hard for opponents to break it. And it could sit on the field and wear their teams down. But I don't think that works in Reg I with the power level that we have right now. So I don't have a ton of ideas for Heatran. Sometimes with a Pokemon that feels kind of iffy in the format, I just slap a Choice Scarf on it, and that could work, right? I could do Scarf, Heat Wave in Sun. Not really sure how I would distinguish that from Chi-Yu. Maybe I just run both of them. So I have double spread fire damage with Beads of Ruin in Sun. That's an option for sure. I know some players in Reg G were running like a bulkier Magma Storm Heatran, but I never really looked too deeply at those teams myself, so I don't know them well enough to build one on the spot. But maybe if I found the right inspiration. I did open up Top Cut Explorer, took a look at Bologna, because I figured at an event in Europe there was a chance that somebody did well with Heatran, but I don't see it on the list. We could take a look at Utrecht too also. I think if it did happen anywhere, it was probably in Europe, and I don't think there are going to be this many Heatran. I think it would be down here if it were showing up at all. Let's take a look at Utrecht. Not what? Not one, maybe two? Nope. No, so this Pokemon is not taken off in Reg I, and that's not really surprising. Might as well look at Munch stats as well. I do think it will show up on Munch stats, but one way to find out. Yeah, 0.23% usage. Common restricted duo with it. Well, I don't know if we can assume that they're paired together, but they probably are because they're a common restricted duo anyway. Most common restricted partners, Ice Rider, Miraidon. Let's see how long it takes. Not that long actually to find someone else. Terapagos and Lunala are both down here. We see Magma Storm is the most common move, just ahead of Heat Wave. Earth Power, Dark Pulse, Flash Cannon, Protect, Terra Blast, some different attacks. Assault Vest is the most common item. What is that for? Just taking a hit from a special attacking restricted and hitting back? I mean, it's not really standing out to me as a Shadow Rider answer or Lunala answer. Or a Miraidon answer. Those are the main special attacking restricteds, right? Am I missing anything important? Kyogre, but I don't think I want to throw a Heatran at a Kyogre. Yeah, I'm not really very inspired by any of this. Bug is the most common Terra type. Makes sense. That turns the ground and fighting weaknesses into resistances. Same reason Incineroar runs it. And then the water weakness becomes neutral. I don't know why Assault Vest... I mean, Assault Vest, right, it plays into Heatran's strengths, right? It has offensive power already. It has decent bulk. You shore up that bulk. But I don't know what its place in the meta is with that. And probably it doesn't have much of a place in the meta, because it'd be getting some results if it did. At tournaments and the like. But... I mean, somebody's using it for something. And I don't know what their vision is. I think I might just do the Choice Scarf cop-out, to be honest. Or maybe I could do something else. Maybe I could do Specs? Then again, it probably has to take a hit if I'm doing Specs. With this speed stat... I could play it in Trick Room, actually. It's what, the same base speed as Dawnwing's Necrozma, right? And I like Dawnwing's Necrozma. Yeah, it is. I like Dawnwing's Necrozma as a Trick Room attacker. Trick Room Sun, Torkoal Heatran instead of Chi-Yu Heatran. Groudon Heatran in Trick Room? Groudon Heatran in Trick Room could be interesting, actually. Let's pencil in a Groudon. Then I need a Trick Room setter, probably a Lunala, right? We make it a Lunadon team. What do Lunadon teams look like now? I closed the Top Cut Explorer tab. I guess I could open it back up. Or I can just use my brain and not rely too much on crutches when I'm just trying to speed build a scuffed team. Alright. I could run in Indeedee. That opens up Expanding Force on Lunala. Rocky Helmet Indeedee can help me deal with Urshifu. I have some stuff for Urshifu already, but obviously Urshifu is an issue for Heatran. I could still run Torkoal. That might be a little bit redundant, but a second Sunsetter is not the worst thing. Indeedee, Torkoal. I'm sure that has a lot of holes in it. Alright, what do I need answers to? Well, in a format like this, it's probably best to start with the top restricted Pokemon. Groudon is very helpful into Miraidon, especially if I run... I was going to say an Assault Vest Groudon. That's certainly an option, but maybe I do want the Assault Vest on Heatran if I'm running Trick Room. Or I could do Specs Heatran. Specs Heatran, Assault Vest Groudon. That's a pretty strong Miraidon answer then, the Groudon. Shadow. I could run Incineroar to help me deal with Calyrex forms, and I could run Flare Blitz on it and get a boost from the sun. I probably then don't want a third fire type. I do want a second Trick Room setter. I don't know that I need Ursaluna when I already have Groudon. For a Trick Room attacker, I mean. But Ursaluna is really good, is the thing. I don't know how I want to flesh this out. I think Incineroar makes a lot of sense. If I have Incineroar, then I'm not so sure about Torkoal. I'm also not quite sold on Indeedee. Let's look at the Pokemon that get Trick Room. I mean, I know there are a lot, but we'll get some ideas here. I already have my two restricteds. Also want to change Lunala, but I don't think I do. Bronzong. Cresselia. I could do Skill Swap Cresselia, give Levitate to Heatran. It still gets Skill Swap, right? Like that Wolf Glick team from 13 years ago. That's kind of a funny idea. Actually, Cresselia might not be bad on this team with Lunar Blessing to keep all of these bulky attackers healthy. I think that's worth considering. Farigiraf is kind of reasonable, but I don't feel like I need it. Hatterene is reasonable. think I like Cresselia. But then I need something offensive to pair. Ooh, Oran Guru could be interesting too, actually. Give me a second crack at a Heat Wave or a Precipice Blades if I start missing. I could also run it with Telepathy, with Earthquake Groudon if I want. Assault Vest Groudon probably has a move slot available for Earthquake. That can also work with Cresselia, of course, because that is Levitate. But I wouldn't want Cresselia and Oranguru. I'd only want one of them. I think Cresselia or Oranguru makes sense. I just don't know which. The other thing about Indeedee, though, is, of course, with the Psychic Terrain, I can deny a Prankster Taunt into Lunala. I think I still like Cresselia, because I like Lunar Blessing into all three of these. I can give it a Mental Herb. Not a Metal Herb, unfortunately that doesn't exist yet. I'm assuming I'll want a different item on Lunala. I'm not sure what just yet. I mean, Power Herb, Meteor Beam is an option, but I'm not certain. I think it's probably a good idea though, because I'm looking pretty Incineroar weak here. In fact, I should probably have something to help me deal with Incineroar in the last slot. Restricted matchups. I have something for Miraidon. I have a couple of Shadow Rider answers, Ice Rider answers. Kyogre could be a problem. Maybe I want like a Wide Guard Lunala, which means probably I don't have room for Meteor Beam. Or I could do Calm Mind stuff. I don't know, Lunala's already starting to get pulled in a few different directions here. I think Calm Mind setup makes sense with Cresselia. I think Wide Guard makes sense when I don't know what I'm doing about Kyogre with this team. I definitely want it to have Trick Room. I can run like a Raging Bolt actually to help me deal with Kyogre. Right? And then that's not... I mean, that's pretty close in base speed to Heatran. It's still pretty reasonable to run on a Trick Room team in this format. Plus it gets priority with Thunderclap. Plus it gets powered up by the sun. I think Raging Bolt makes a lot of sense here. And then it's not like a direct answer to opposing Incineroar stuff, but I mean, Incineroar's not going to like taking a boosted Thunderbolt. I'm going to do Rillaboom, Urshifu kinds of teams. Raging Bolt helps a lot with Rapid Strike Urshifu. What do I have for Single Strike Urshifu? That's tougher for sure. I can think about like Terra Fairy on Heatran, for one thing. Almost certainly want Terra Fairy on Lunala. Incineroar helps me deal with horses. It helps me deal with opposing Lunala. It can fake out to help me get Trick Room up. Parting Shot is Parting Shot. This is definitely not the best version of a Lunadon team, I'm sure, but I think this is pretty reasonable for this video, and I think we should be able to have some fun with Heatran in this one. I was about to make the cut to flesh out the rest of the team. I think most of these Pokemon have fairly clear roles at this point, but I should make some decisions, I think, about Lunala before I just skip over those. I think I could probably run Earthquake on Groudon, right? I don't have any ground immunities except Cresselia, but I have Precipice Blades. The point is, I think with the Assault Vest, I can have room for both. Clear Amulet might be nice to stop Intimidate, but not every opponent is going to have Intimidate. And Assault Vest Groudon, especially if it doesn't have to be fast, can sit on the field for a long time. Just rack up that damage. So that I like. Yeah, still need to figure out Lunala's set. So I want Moongeist Beam. I'll want Moonblast. And then it's 3 of Calm Mind, Wide Guard, and Trick Room. I think Calm Mind is the one that should go. I think Wide Guard is valuable to this team. I think Trick Room is basically necessary. And I think that if I'm playing in Trick Room with the limited turns to take advantage of it, Calm Mind setup might be too slow anyway. Plus, I have Specs Heatran. I'm probably just looking to fire off attacks from bulky Pokemon that are They're going to be faster than hard Trick Room Pokemons from the opponent, but I don't have to set Trick Room in those matchups, right? I could have a hard Trick Room weakness. It's certainly possible, but the point is, yeah, I think Calm Mind setup is just not the right fit here because it's kind of on the slow side. And then I'm not running a Power Herb. I'm not running a Seed because I don't have a Terrain on my team. I could just do Leftovers. I could do like a Citrus Berry, but of course berries are a little bit less valuable in this format than some because the two of the three most popular restricteds deny them. Leftovers feels a little bit slow as well, but I mean, with Lunar Blessing available, Lunar Blessing won't always be on the board, but when it is, with a little bit more recovery, I can get back into Shadow Shield range sometimes. I think there's something reasonable there. I can reconsider, depending on how the battles go. Raging Bolt can probably just have like a Magnet, because the Assault Vest is occupied. I have Sun on my team. I might not need a Booster Energy. Might be nice to get a Booster Energy anyway, but that's something to think about as well. Heatran, Heat Wave. What's the accuracy on Magma Storm? I could think about Gravity on this team if I'm running both Heatran and Groudon. Does Cresselia get Gravity? It does, actually. There's a little bit of anti-synergy because Gravity takes away Cresselia's Levitate. Also, I don't know if Cresselia has a move slot available for Gravity. Also, I might want to think about Safety Goggles on Cresselia because of Amoonguss. But I think I can put the Safety Goggles on Incineroar, actually. I need something to deal with Amoonguss because that's going to underspeed everything. And cause trouble. I can think about Gravity. I don't think I want Magma Storm without Gravity, but maybe I do. 75 accuracy, though, is rough. Could just do Overheat, of course. I could do Fire Blast with Gravity. But no, Magma Storm makes more sense then. Fire Blast, not that accurate. Okay, what moves does Cresselia need? Lunar Blessing and Trick Room for sure. I want it to be able to do some kind of damage, probably something like Ice Beam. This then doesn't have Protect. It also doesn't have any recovery except Lunar Blessing. Gravity might be overcooking a little bit. I think Protect is a bit more sound, so I could still gamble on Magma Storm. You know what? I'm down. It's Heatran's signature move. Heatran is probably not making another appearance in this series, so this will be the only chance to try Magma Storm out. I'm down to give it a go. We'll go Earth Power for sure. And then, of course, Flash Cannon is the other stab, but I don't really feel like I need it. What is Flash Cannon valuable for? Rock types? What rock types are in the format? I mean, there are some. You can run into the odd Tyranitar, but, like, this beats that. I also have Earth Power already. I can do Terra Blast. Fairy Terra Blast might be reasonable on this, right? Hit Dragon types. The alternative is what? Like Dark Pulse or Flash Cannon back on the table? I think Terra Blast is okay with me. I'll just fill out the EVs off recording and the last couple moves here. The EVs are probably all going to be like 252 HP, 252 attacking stat, min speed, but anywhere that I deviate from that I'll talk about, but we'll just go ahead and make the cut now. Alright, here it is. Take 2 for this part. I didn't even get through a single sentence on the first take before I found an error in this team. Okay, it's a little bit cut off. Cresselia's last move is still Ice Beam. Raging Bolt says Protect. Okay. Pretty straightforward. I've talked through a lot of the decisions already. Incineroar is running Flare Blitz to take advantage of the sun, as I mentioned before. As far as EV spreads go, I didn't worry too much about Incineroar's speed, except one thing we'll talk about in a second. So it's just a typical bulky spread that I often use on it. And for Cresselia, of course, I didn't worry about investing in special attack. It's just mixed bulk, and I didn't calc for anything. This is not that kind of series. I did the Wiggly Bars thing. I just kind of put some in each defensive stat, as well as HP. It should take some hits. We'll see how it goes. It is running a Sassy Nature to take advantage of that high special defense. Everything looks about as I described. It is 3 ground attacks on Groudon. I did think about Dragon Claw or Thunder Punch instead of high horsepower, and I might well make a change as we play this out. That's something that'll be on my radar. But I think Groudon wants to be clicking ground attack into most things anyway, right? And then have Heat Crash available for grass and bug types. I might want to Thunder Punch or Tornadus or something. Thunder Punch is probably the 5th move that I would run if I had one available. But I think given that Groudon wants to be clicking ground attack most of the time, and Wide Guard is pretty common in this format, having a single target ground type attack is valuable and gives high horsepower a niche separate from both Precipice Blades and Earthquake. Earthquake might be the odd move out here, actually. It's a little bit silly. It only really works next to Cresselia. I guess I could also use it next to Lunala, actually, because I can protect my Lunala from its teammates' own spread damage with Wide Guard, but that's kind of niche too. We'll see how I'm feeling as I play this out. Raging Bolt, of course, the lowest speed IV it can have is 20, because that's a fixed value when you catch it, which is fine. That just means functionally Raging Bolt's minimum speed is 20 IV, no big deal. There's no other Raging Bolt that's going to underspeed it. Fun fact, that actually means that it speed ties with min-speed Cresselia. So I put a tiny bit of speed on Cresselia. I just bumped its IV up to 2, so that it's not tying with Raging Bolt. And then at that point, it was tying with uninvested 31 IV, Neutral Nature, Incineroar. So I gave a little bit of speed investment to Incineroar. So Incineroar is 1 point faster than Cresselia, which is 1 point faster than Raging Bolt. All engineered so that there aren't 2 of them tying, which there otherwise would be. Otherwise, the speeds are spread out enough on this team that that's not something to worry about. Enough talk, I think. Let's just jump on the ladder, and we'll see if Heatran can cook some opponents. Raging Bolt, Chien-Pao, Shadow Rider, Calyrex, Rillaboom, Amoonguss, and Zamazenta. So immediately, I'm not very happy to see an Amoonguss. I think my team probably doesn't have enough for Amoonguss, right? I have the safety goggles on Incineroar, but maybe I need Terra Grass on Heatran or something like that. Terra Grass Heatran is pretty reasonable. On the other hand, I would then lose to Fairy Terra Blast, but Grass Terra Blast is pretty nice on this as well. It's something to think about. And of course, it would still be immune to fire type attacks with Flash Fire, except Reshiram, fire attacks, White Kyurem, Fusion Flare, and Hearthflame Mask, Ogerpon, Ivy Cudgel, which is a not insignificant list of exceptions, but still a lot of fire type attacks accounted for. Okay, before I get too distracted, I need to set Trick Room up. Cresselia's Terra Dark, by the way, for resistances and not a bunch of redundant Fairy Terras, and also a second answer to Taunt besides the Mental Herb. Let's get Lunala in here. Let's get Incineroar. I can fake out or Parting Shot something turn 1. Let's bring Heatran to this game, and let's bring Groudon to this game, and let's see where that gets us. They lead Chien-Pao, Zamazenta. Yeah, I'm in danger immediately. The good news is I can fake out one of these turn 1. And if I just fake out Chien-Pao and Trick Room, they can beat that with a Ghost Terra. So maybe I don't want to do it. I could... Would they really burn their Terra like that? It's my best play if they don't Terrasilize Chien-Pao, but if they do, then I'm safe for attacking Zamazenta. Also, they probably brought Amoonguss. Probably don't want to let Incineroar go down to a Body Press. I'm going to Trick Room, Terra Bug, fake out Chien-Pao. Chien-Pao just protects. They both protect. Okay, I mean, that works. I don't love that I used my Terra immediately, but like I said, I didn't want to just leave Incineroar vulnerable to Body Press there when I might need it to deal with Amoonguss in the back. I'm just going to Moonblast and Flare Blitz Chien-Pao now. It should be very vulnerable now that I have the Trick Room up. I kind of want to Parting Shot something, but I really want to get rid of this Chien-Pao if they'll let me. They Sucker Punch my Lunala, survives thanks to Shadow Shield. It's Life Orb Chien-Pao. Flare Blitz actually just wipes it out. And then I get the Moonblast into Zamazenta. Special attack drop, useless, not using that stat. That Body Press still does a fair bit to Incineroar. I am running more special bulk than physical, though some of both. And there's the Amoonguss. Yeah, that Amoonguss is a problem. I also don't have Protect on Lunala. The good news is they're not threatening much damage into Lunala right now, so I think I can just... They're probably just going to protect Amoonguss and attack Incineroar, right? But Incineroar still survives that. I think I'm just going to Moongeist Beam Zamazenta and Flare Blitz Amoonguss. They protect Zamazenta. I thought they would protect Amoonguss. I guess it doesn't matter. Lunala doesn't get an attack off here anyway. We get good damage into Amoonguss. But Incineroar is taking a lot of damage now, especially with the Rocky Helmet. So if they have an attack on Amoonguss, they can knock out Incineroar here. But I'll make them prove it. Pollen Puff. Okay, yeah, that works. Lunala can wake up here. It actually does. I have not been lucky with sleep turns in recent laddering sessions, so this feels kind of long-term deserved, to be honest. The Behemoth Bash really doesn't do too much to Lunala. One turn of Trick Room left. I'll get Heatran in here, because I can Magma... So, it's tricky, right? They can stall out the Trick Room here. Then I'm actually kind of just in danger, because I can't Wide Guard and Trick Room on the same turn. They're just going to protect through this turn, I think. Is there a heads-up play that I can make here? I'm actually just really out of position. I focused hard on getting rid of the Amoonguss. I wasn't really tracking my Trick Room turns carefully, although I don't know how much more I could have done anyway. This team does have some limitations. Well, let's... maybe they won't protect for some reason. They will. Could have been a choice Shadow Rider for all I knew, but on a team like this, not likely. And here's where having already used my Terra comes to bite me. And I think I do need more for Amoonguss on this team. They're going to stop that Trick Room with an Astral Barrage, but I think I have to go for it. Maybe Assault Vest Groudon can clutch this, actually. Although that Calyrex is about to get a boost, of course. Zamazenta will knock out Heatran. And it's a water type, so it'll take neutral damage. Yeah, I don't think there's any way through this. I thought they'd Wide Guard, that's why I clicked High Horsepower. It doesn't matter. They're faster. Well, yeah, no need to Wide Guard when they can just win with attacks. Let's... Should I Terra Grass? I can also run Terra Grass on Lunala, actually. That's pretty reasonable. I do lose the Terra boost on Moonblast if I do that. Moongus is often going to be paired with Incineroar. Incineroar is not massively threatening to Heatran, but it's not pleasant to deal with. Alright, let's do Terra Grass Heatran. Kyogre or Chaladon, Miraidon for Rigorath, Iron Hands of Basculegion. Okay. The Iron Hands is an issue, because I want to set Trick Room and Underspeed most of these, but the Iron Hands makes that somewhat harder. On the other hand, Iron Hands is kind of afraid of Groudon, to an extent. It probably has a defensive Terra type to help deal with it, but not threatening amazing damage back. I also win the turn 1 Weather War if I want, because my Groudon will very likely be slower than their Kyogre. It's at worst a speed tie, but only if this is min speed Kyogre, which I doubt. Kind of want to just lead with my restricteds here, so I will. And I'll bring Raging Bolt. Let's just bring Heatran, all offense. Let's go. Okay, they lead Kyogre. It's just all the restricteds on the board right now. The Miraidon is not at its scariest when I have an immunity and an intact Shadow Shield. I'm just going to click Precipice Blades and Trick Room, I think. They switch in for Rigorath, fair enough, but if they have Imprison, they can't click it this turn, obviously. They break Shadow Shield, but it doesn't do too much damage. Kyogre comes back in, gets weather control. I get my Precipice Blades, hit both targets. Not a massive amount of damage though. Farigiraf is a threat to try to reverse the Trick Room. I think I'm willing to trade Groudon to stop that. If I can. What is it then? Precipice Blades, Terra Fairy, Moonblast? Kinda just loses to Kyogre though. We're just gonna go all in though. Let's try it. Yeah, Kyogre survives. Farigiraf doesn't, though. The Origin Pulse actually doesn't knock anything out. Nice Assault Vest on Groudon coming in clutch there. And then I keep the Trick Room up. That's their only way to reverse it. And I still have Heatran and Raging Bolt in the back. I only have 3 more turns of Trick Room, though, and Lunala is low, so I'm probably not getting a second Trick Room. Our Chaladon is here now. Yeah. Let's just Precipice Blades and Moongeist Beam our Chaladon. I don't know what its set is going to be. It doesn't get a ton of play in Reg I. I feel like it probably still runs Assault Vest most often. That Moongeist Beam does a lot, though. No stamina, so that's kind of nice. They knock out Lunala. Guaranteed no more Trick Room from me. Let's try to make the most of the existing one. I'll go Heatran here. I can lock into Earth Power because both their remaining Pokemon are weak to ground. They haven't Terrestrialized though. But it's probably Terra Fairy Miraidon. I don't have... it's either Electric or Fairy almost certainly. I don't have Flash Cannon anyway. I can just Precipice Blades here and Earth Power Miraidon. And that's GG. Earth Power doesn't quite get the KO, but Precipice Blades picks up both. There we go. No Sun needed beyond turn 1. It's a little bit more like it. Team's still awkward, but it's a Heatran team in Reg I. It was going to be. Heatran's a cool Pokemon for sure. Here's a Kyogre Miraidon team with Whimsicott. They don't have any Trick Room mode. They could have like Taunt Whimsicott. I think it gets Taunt. Or Taunt Incineroar. I'm just thinking about how they could deny Trick Room, potentially. I might want to lead Cresselia in this one so that I get the Trick Room up a little bit more safely. I could do Groudon Cresselia lead, kind of play it like the last game, but with a different Trick Room setter. I don't know that I want Heatran for this one. It's not great into either of their restricteds. Raging Bolt might be more reasonable here. Lunala Raging Bolt? That's okay, I don't have to bring Heatran to every game. They lead Incineroar Miraidon, and you know what I didn't account for? Cresselia is not stopped by Taunt, but it can be faked out. I'll just throw off an Earthquake. I'm not afraid of the Intimidate. Damage is damage. I completely forgot to fix my move order on Cresselia. I hate this move order. Protect is always last slot for me, but oh well. It's alright. Go for Trick Room. They fake out Groudon. Okay. Volt Switch Crest. That does so much damage, but Crest is very bulky mon. We can live with it. I'm very awkwardly positioned into this Kyogre now, though. Especially with Groudon at -1. I think it's worth switching Raging Bolt in. And I'll protect Crest this turn, but I'm looking to click Lunar Blessing next. They burn Raging Bolt. That's fine. Water Spout does a fair bit of damage, but yeah, I can... they can Parting Shot into Raging Bolt, but before they do, I can Thunderbolt and Lunar Blessing. Fair enough. Actually, knock off. Gets rid of the magnet. Will nerf my damage a little bit. Also, Incineroar just undersped both of these Pokemon. What did I say? Uninvested Incineroar. Nothing at all done to modify its speed stat. Would tie Cresselia, but I bumped Cresselia up a little bit. Maybe I should just keep that speed tie in place. I don't think Cresselia and Incineroar tying is really that big a deal. And I've taken away the chance to tie opposing Incineroar, but even then, Raging Bolt should be... Wait, it looks like these two are tying. I messed something up there then. Huh. I don't know what went wrong there, but no use dwelling on it. I'm gonna get Miraidon in. Got distracted, didn't think through my play. Man, I can Draco Meteor that slot. They could switch, but they should still take a lot of damage. I would not... they just Terra Fairy. Yeah, okay. This one's kind of gone off the rails. They get the Urshifu in. I don't think I'm getting a second Trick Room this game. Well, I have Lunala in the back, so I probably am getting a second Trick Room this game, but I don't have it well... I'm not well positioned for it right now. Gotta say, I have not found Cresselia convincing at all in this game. It kept Raging Bolt on the field for a while, but to what end? Let's get Groudon back in. Hopefully they don't Surging Strike that slot, but even if they do, the sun's up. They can get an Intimidate now, though. They don't. Well, okay, I have Trick Room back up. I can click Moongeist Beam into something. Probably, let's Moon Blast actually to try to hit an Incineroar switch in if that happens. Damage on Kyogre is valuable. Precipice Blades is good damage into everything. The Incineroar switches into the other slot. Kyogre protects. I missed the Precipice Blades, and the Moon Blast goes into the wrong slot. Great turn. They can fake something out now, but only one thing. I might as well Moongeist Beam now, because it's that tiny bit stronger than Moonblast. And the Incineroar can't switch in right now because it's already on the field. They go Miraidon and switching in. Are they faking something out? It's Groudon. Moongeist Beam comes out into Miraidon. Big damage. I'll Moonblast the Incineroar slot and Precipice Blades now. Try to get what damage I can while I still have the Trick Room up. They still haven't damaged Lunala, so that's kind of nice. They burn Groudon. This was just not a good Groudon matchup, huh? I don't want to click Wide Guard. Because then I can maybe preserve my Shadow Shield to get Trick Room back up. But again, what am I doing with it then? You know what? I think if I ever win this, it does start with that. And they knock off into Lunala. No Shadow Shield. They do still have a Water Spout though. Of course, Groudon doesn't have Protect, because it has Assault Vest. I could sack Cresselia. I don't think preserving Groudon is worth it. I also don't think I'm going to get Trick Room back up because they can just Water Spout, but... Yeah, okay, I missed the Kyogre with Precipice Blades. I am going to get the Trick Room. Lunala takes a Parting Shot, though. I guess I can pivot it out for Cresselia still. And reset that. But doing that kills a turn of my Trick Room. I guess I won't miss this Earthquake at least. If they let me have it, they might Aqua Jet the Groudon. They don't. That's not great damage though through the burn. And now I'm down to just Lunala, and that's gonna be GG pretty much. And I would be honest, there's some ups and downs in the journey of this series for sure. That's how it goes when you build a bunch of teams quickly. Not always with sound theory behind them. I did not enjoy this game. This video overall, it's got its own ups and downs as they go. I did not enjoy playing this matchup at all. This might be something of a low point for the series. However, we will keep going for now. We'll play at least one more. But yeah, my attempt to make Heatran actually work here is not feeling great. Here's another Miraidon Kyogre team. Can I do something differently? I don't have to lead Groudon into these, do I? Actually, Incineroar or Lunala seems like a pretty reasonable lead, right? If they go double restricted like these opponents have been doing, fake out into one and Trick Room, the other can't stop the Shadow Shield immediately. That said, Raging Bolt looks good into this team. Heatran looks honestly not crazy into this team. And it's the Heatran video, so I kind of want to bring it. I do also think I want to bring Groudon. I just don't think I want to lead with it. But there are a lot of ground type targets here. Targets for ground type damage, I mean. So something has to give. I can't bring all 5 non-Cresselia mons. I think Raging Bolt is going to be the odd mon out. I'll lead Incineroar, Lunala, Groudon, Heatran in the back. Hopefully I can get some nice sun boosted. Well, I might click Earth Power with Heatran in this one, but otherwise some nice sun boosted Heat Waves. I think I can make do without Raging Bolt, but we'll see. It's Raichu, Miraidon. I'm going to fake out... I want to fake out the Raichu. I'm just worried that it might have a Covert Cloak. But I think it is a more valuable target, because something like a Taunt or a Nuzzle could shut down Lunala when I really don't want that. Lunala can take a hit from Miraidon. It could have a Focus Sash, the Raichu. It doesn't have a Covert Cloak, so that's good. That Volt Switch did less than the one last game. Kyogre's in. Okay. Do I sack Incineroar to click Knockoff into Raichu? I think I do. Then I can get Groudon in for free. Be nice if they let me have this. They might not. And I'll just Moongeist Beam Kyogre. Getting damage on that is important. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Bonk. Got rid of Raichu. That's nice. Got some damage into Kyogre. They go straight for Origin Pulse. No Water Spout. Makes sense. Lunala actually took quite a bit from that. Got to make the most of the Trick Room turns here. That's the biggest thing with this team is I'm kind of just cooked when Trick Room wears off, which is a big problem because this is really not an optimized offensive Trick Room team. But so be it. We try things in this series. This is how it goes sometimes. Just gonna click Floral Healing into Kyogre, right? Well, let's just hit Kyogre hard then. Terra Grass, of course. I'm not calling out Terra types. This video is also a problem. Nice crit, though. We take those. Nice Ice Beam damage into Assault Vest Groudon. Nice Sun Boosted Heat Crash into Moongeist Beam. Actually, you know what? I should Moonblast to pin this a lot if Miraidon tries to switch in. Kyogre probably is Protect, but Comfey is not really much of a damaging threat. Let's go for it. Protect. Alright, but what does Comfey go for? Draining Kiss. It does kill a turn of Trick Room, though. That's the big thing. But if I just get rid of Kyogre, I don't know if they'll let me. But if I do just get rid of Kyogre, then I should be able to beat Miraidon anyway with AV Groudon. At least I hope so. Okay, they actually switch in the Miraidon. I probably just lose to Kyogre after this. Do I have to sack Heatran, get Groudon in Sun? I don't even get the KO on Miraidon. Is it AV Miraidon? Is that why it did less damage? Just gonna go for Trick Room because that working is probably my out. But they won't let me. Almost certainly, right? Helping Hand, Dazzling Gleam. Volt Switch into Lunala. Fair enough. Do I knock out Kyogre here though? Oh no, it's a Grass type, right? Oh, I do knock it out. I think if I ever win this, that's what it looks like. Let's see. We're in rain. I might as well lock into Earth Power. They do still have the Helping Hand, though, so maybe they just blast Groudon out of this game with Dazzling Gleam. No, that does not do all that much. Precipice Blades and Earth Power seals it. They just needed to not click Volt Switch on that one turn. Maybe they thought... They might not have clicked Dazzling Gleam because they might have thought that a Wide Guard was coming to try to keep Groudon alive to knock out the Miraidon. That I can follow. But they must have had Electro Drift, right? And then you just sack Miraidon and you win with Kyogre in the back. So I don't really feel like I deserve to win that one, but... Well, I mean, I guess all you can do is beat the opponent in front of you. I can't really say it wasn't deserved, but... I thought they had a pretty clear path to the win there. They didn't take it. That means the video stays alive a little bit longer. This person is a Spectrier, which is fun. They get a Ghost Horse, and it doesn't take up one of their restricted slots. Everybody... It's funny, I'm running Groudon this video, and everybody seems to have Kyogre. This one's Kyogre Zacian. They have Therian Form Landorus, which is a menace into Groudon without Clear Amulet. Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. A lot of interesting team choices here. Could be Imprison, Trick Room, Indeedee. I sure hope it isn't. I sure hope it isn't, but I will lead Incineroar Lunala to do my best to cover for that. And I'll bring... We should bring Raging Bolt. I'll bring Groudon Heatran. It's the Heatran video, and Heatran has really not gotten to do much yet. Although, Heatran did take the last KO of that last game just now. I feel like there's an Imprison coming from Indeedee, but I sure hope not. Snarl. That's annoying too. Oh, just Shadow Ball into Lunala. Okay, makes sense when they already broke the Shadow Shield. Good thing I Terastallized, which I thought might be overkill, but nope, I'm glad I did it. I think here... Spectre has already consumed its item. I don't know how much the knockoff will do. I think here I'm just going to hard switch to Groudon and Flare Blitz Spectre with the Sun Boost. This does give up weather control to my opponent immediately. Okay, I didn't think they'd do that. No, that was almost the right call. The knockoff would really not have done much. I can knock off Kyogre here and Precipice Blades. Kyogre's item was Choice Specs. Good to get rid of that. We knock it out with the Blades. Spectre not quite KO'd, but almost. Hanging by a thread, so is Indeedee. Here's Zacian. It's, by the way, not Crown Sword form. I think I could have seen that at preview, and I didn't even pick up on it, right? I would like to... Well, it's not a Steel type. I actually wouldn't like that badly to Flare Blitz it. Knockoff might be reasonable, because I don't know what its item is, but it's not a Rusted Sword. I don't think Parting Shot is fine. Parting Shot. Precipice Blades. Get rid of the Intrepid Sword. I'll go Lunala here. So I'm not switching Heatran in on a Sacred Sword, potentially. We miss Spectre with the Precipice Blades. That's a little bit unfortunate. But they miss a Play Rough back, and on this turn, which is the last turn of Trick Room, I can Wide Guard. I can make the Wide Guard Earthquake play, and then I won't miss. Yep, Lunala protects itself from the Wide Guard. Get the perfect accuracy into both opponents. 100% accuracy, you know what I mean. I'll go right for a Trick Room again just to be safe, and I'll go for high horsepower into Zacian. They land the Play Rough into Groudon this time. The Trick Room is back. The Shadow Shield is back. Heatran didn't get into the game until now, but here it finally is. And they forfeit before I can pick my moves. I was going to click Magma Storm just for style points, but I don't get to. That was a weird team. I wonder what the Zacian's item was. I think it only ever clicked Play Rough, right? So it might have been like a Choice Band or something. Here's another Amoonguss. And a Kyogre. Everybody has a Kyogre today. I run Groudon and everybody has a Kyogre. This kind of thing happens a lot on the ladder though, doesn't it? Well, this might be the test of Terra Grass Heatran. It's a little bit awkward that my opponent has Tornadus and Chien-Pao. I think Incineroar Lunala has been my best lead into most matchups. I don't think this is any exception. And I'm going to bring Groudon and Heatran. And genuinely, I'm partly thinking about how to deal with the Amoonguss. They lead Torn Ogre. What I don't want to see from the Tornadus is Taunt. But I certainly might. Fake out Kyogre. Tornadus usually runs Covert Cloak. So not much of use clicking Fake Out into that. Protect Kyogre. What does Tornadus go for? Not Taunt. Tailwind. Okay. Alright, I got Trick Room. I think I'll just Parting Shot and Moongeist Beam into Kyogre. Then I can get Groudon in and turn off the rain. They can click Rain Dance with Tornadus. They might not do it immediately this turn, though. Groudon should be able to get in relatively safely with Kyogre at -1 special attack and Nerfed by the Sun, and Groudon having the Assault Vest. And if they clicked Water Spout, which they probably didn't, they actually did. The damage on Kyogre is helpful there too. They just go Bleak Wind with Tornadus. Speed drop on Lunala is fine. Lunala is now slower than Groudon. That's good to know. Let's just Moongeist Beam Tornadus and High Horsepower Kyogre. Not much point in Precipice Blades when Tornadus is immune anyway. There's the Rain Dance. We knew that was coming. But we're just trying to rack up damage now while the Trick Room is still up. I don't think they have a good High Horsepower switch in. I'm going to mix it up and go Moonblast this time in case they try to sneak the Chien-Pao onto the field or something. I don't think they will, but I mean, why not go for it? Okay, Knockout Tornadus. Almost got Kyogre there. I guess I could have clicked Precipice Blades and gotten the single target damage, although you still have to hit then. This has Protect, this surely has Protect, so they can get through the Trick Room here. I think what I do here is I'll take the KO on Kyogre if they let me, but I'll switch Groudon out for Incineroar. That immediately gets an Intimidate into Zacian, and I have Fake Out Pressure on the next turn. They actually do let me have the Kyogre. Okay. But then who's coming in? Urshifu. Makes sense. I guess I Fake Out Urshifu in Trick Room here. Because that Surging Strikes is going to hurt if they target that into Lunala when I try to set the Trick Room back up. Perfect. It flinches. Play Rough into Lunala. Does less than half. Love to see it. And now I have Moonblast into Urshifu. Parting Shot into Zacian. Urshifu drops. Zacian takes the attack drop to -1 attack. And I don't even have to decide what Pokemon to switch in because they forfeit. I'm surprised they didn't bring the Amoonguss. Am I? I mean, I have all these red Pokemon, some of which are fire types, all of which can be fire types if they really believe. But I can see thinking that Amoonguss is being pressured, but I mean, I'm going so hard for the Trick Room. Well, in any case, another game where I brought Heatran, but I didn't really get a chance to do anything. But you know what? We've come a long way already from the low point earlier in this video where the team wasn't working and I wasn't having fun. These last few games have been a lot better. So I said ups and downs in the series, but really ups and downs just in this installment. Oh boy. This could be another down though, let's see. Their team looks pretty Trick Roomy. Yeah, they have Trick Room on their first 3 Pokemon. The others are equipped to fight in it for sure. Ice Rider Calyrex will underspeed my whole team. This is the kind of matchup that I was worried about when I got on the ladder. They don't even have a Kyogre. I never did seriously think about skill swap Cresselia, did I? Oh well. Cresselia has not been very useful anyway. Another Gen 4 legendary that's not great in this format. Maybe bringing 2 of those is a little much. I'm just going to lead Groudon Heatran and try to start blasting. I think I don't want Trick Room this game. I also think that they can probably pretty easily stop this game plan, but I don't have a better idea. And then I want 2 of Lunala, Incineroar, and Raging Bolt. And as good as Incineroar looks here, I actually think I have to bring Incineroar, because I need the physical damage and the Dark-type damage into these 2. I actually think Lunala is the odd mon out here. No, Raging Bolt is. I'll still bring my Restricteds. But yeah, very different game plan here from what we've seen before. This is get the sun up immediately. They don't have a Kyogre. I'm just going to Heat Wave and Precipice Blades and pray. This is stopped by Wide Guard Trick Room, but anything I try here, they have some way to overcome it. Actually didn't check whether they have wide guard. They don't. Yeah, alright, this is the best I've got. I'm not confident that it's going to work. I also have to land both of these attacks for them to do any damage. Oh. Or the Lunala can outspeed all my stuff. It doesn't get a KO. Maybe Groudon again. But I knock out Indeedee, but not Lunala. Now they have Ogre Pawn. They can follow me, but I'm clicking spread moves anyway. The bigger thing is Groudon doesn't take another Expanding Force. They don't have to follow me. So I didn't go Trick Room because I thought their team looked more dangerous than mine under Trick Room. Mostly just because of the Ice Rider, but I haven't seen the Ice Rider yet. The problem is these are actually faster than what I have on the field. And yeah, I don't need to worry about follow me because they're just going to Expanding Force, KO Groudon with that, and Ivy Cudgel Heatran. I'm just going to Heat Wave and switch to Incineroar. I get intimidated to Ogerpon this way. Incineroar is immune to Expanding Force. The Ivy Cudgel crits. It has a boosted crit rate, of course. It still KOs. At least Lunala doesn't get a KO. And now I can get my Lunala in. I have Shadow Shield intact. Follow me is now an issue, though. I was going to say I actually think I have to set Trick Room for Groudon to be useful in this game, but if they have Ice Rider in the back, that's still bad for me. So we're still going no Trick Room here. I'm going to Terra Fairy, Moongeist Beam their Lunala, Fake Out Ogerpon. They have Psychic Terrain up. Why did I click Fake Out? I still do that. I've been playing VGC for quite a while now, and I still click Fake Out in Psychic Terrain sometimes. I've never completely gotten that specific glitch out of my system. At least they didn't break my Shadow Shield this turn. Is it Ice Rider in the back? It is. I don't have Terra Fire available on Groudon. Doesn't matter. Ogerpon kind of pins it regardless. Just going to Moongeist Beam and hope for the best. And Precipice Blades. They could have missed that Power Whip. They don't. It knocks out Groudon, but they didn't follow me. But yeah, an unboosted Moongeist Beam is not just knocking out Ice Rider Calyrex immediately. And the Ogerpon still is sturdy intact, so I just don't have enough damage to get through this. Alright, well this one was a tough matchup. I mean, I guess it's not quite over yet, but it's pretty close to over. Yeah, there's another follow me. We do take this Glacial Lance and we knock out Ogerpon, but then we lose to Calyrex on the next turn. Unless they have high horsepower. Let's see if they click it, though. Because I actually Wide Guard stopped Glacial Lance. If they click Glacial Lance again, or I'm somehow not knocked out by high horsepower, I actually still win this. But no, of course, they just knocked me out with high horsepower. It was worth a shot. Alright, that's 3 losses. That's normally the end of the video. However, I'm going to do something I sometimes do in this series. Because Heatran didn't get much attention in its own video, because this was largely the Lunala, Groudon, Incineroar show, I'm going to get one more game, and I'm going to lead Heatran no matter what. And whatever happens, happens. This is definitely not a great team, and the Cresselia was definitely not, just not right. Of course it's this stuff. The Cresselia just didn't work. But I think with a different 5th Pokemon, there could be something more fun here. I don't know, there's probably something that could help smooth out the difficult matchups. Maybe my own Amoonguss to pair with Incineroar and be a different kind of menace under Trick Room. But there's probably something better than that. Alright, how do I beat Perish Trap with this? Well, I already said what I was going to do. Just start blasting. Let's just bring all my offense. Let's see if Heatran can do something here. Heatran has done some things in this video, just not a lot. That's why I decided to get one more game. Of course, they can intimidate Groudon with their Incineroar. They can fake something out with Gothitelle here. I don't have Flash Cannon. I do have Magma Storm. Let's click Specs Magma Storm into this Screamtail and ideally connect. That's the tricky part, right? We're clicking inaccurate attacks, so we're just going to make the most of it. Maybe this team could use a Gravity Sableye, although again, that's a little bit silly. We do miss the Magma Storm. They're now free to protect, Encore, disable, you know the drill. I guess that's a fitting way for this team to go out. You know what, though? Other than that one game where I really just wasn't having fun, And obviously no fault to my opponent. They just had a team and I missed again. They just had a team and played it. And I just didn't enjoy the matchup with this team that I built on the spot this afternoon. Other than that one game, this has been alright. Not my favorite, for sure. But, like I said, there are going to be some ups and downs in this series. And this video alone has had some ups and downs. So that's okay. I definitely had others that I enjoyed more. But Heatran was always going to be a tough one. Kind of a shame to see it go out like this, though, just getting parish trapped. Well, what can you do? I said one more video, one more battle. Lead Heatran no matter what. And see what happens. I might as well click Earthquake. I mean, Heatran is fainting anyway. Lead Heatran no matter what and see what happens. And this is what happened. They let their Gothitelle go down, though. Well, it doesn't matter. They don't need to trap me anymore. Screamtail just wins with Perish Song now. And it'll outspeed everything I have. I actually think I want Trick Room here just so that I underspeed Screamtail after that. Doesn't really matter. I hesitated there because I was thinking about Draco Meteor into Koraidon, but I can't have the special attack drop. They protect anyway. Yeah, Parasong wins in the game. Because I set up the sun earlier, it wears off now, and that means my Raging Bolt doesn't have a photosynthesis boost anymore, which is not ideal. Double target Koraidon, because I know Screamtail's protecting. Shadow Rider. Alright. I say they protect that this turn. But I'll take the chance that they don't. This actually might not be over. They don't protect. Okay, then they win next turn with Protect on the Shadow Rider. That was their out. If they had protected that turn, then I actually did still have a chance to win, but that's why they didn't. Because now they protect and they win guaranteed. Oh well. GG. I've actually run into a few of these Perish Trap teams on the ladder lately. I don't know that they would hold up in a best-of-3 open team sheet tournament. If anyone will find out, it's Wolf Glick, but it's kind of cool to see them doing something somewhere right now. That's not a bad end to all this, although Heatran did not exactly go down swinging like some of the other Pokemon that we featured in the series. Anyway, who's to say what legendary comes next and what kind of team will come of that? And that's the fun of the adventure here, right?